Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about specifically fixing the Sourcebook problem. And I'm going to be talking about Blackwood, which is an officially licensed Savage World sourcebook for Savage Worlds, done by a gentleman by the name of Eli Kurtz. Okay? Now, let me talk about Blackwood, and then I'm going to talk about fixing the Sourcebook problem. All right, so I recently went on to RPG Academy. They have a very, very good podcast that talks specifically about tabletop role-playing games. It's a lot of live plays, and it's some interviews, that kind of thing. It's a very, very excellent resource for the tabletop role-playing game community, RPG Academy. They had on Eli Kurtz, and Eli Kurtz came on and he explained Blackwood. Now, I just want to talk about why I was actually listening to this podcast. I study the industry, and one of the reasons why I was listening to this specific podcast was I wanted to know about this setting, and the reason why is I wanted to see how this was the creator of the game, Eli Kurtz, the creator of the setting. Blackwood is a setting, and it's an important distinction, especially here. Now, I wanted to see how he went about constructing the setting. And a lot of times when they interview the creators, they'll talk about how they went about the construction, and sure enough, they did, which was great. It was a very good interview. It served a very solid purpose. It's very interesting. So Eli Kurtz is a very, very smart creator. I listened to him. He really made a lot of wise decisions in the creation of Blackwood overall, and Blackwood sounded really cool. Like, this is great. This makes a lot of sense to me. Right now, I have absolutely no intention of buying Blackwood in its current structure, and the reason why is it is a source book. And I am 100% done with source books. And even further than that, I really feel that the industry desperately needs to be done with source books for a whole host of reasons. Very quickly, source books really make verdant soil to grow rules lawyers. It's the best reason to get rid of them. In addition to that, they make, I'm going to go over it again just in case there are new people on this video. Thank you for your patience for my existing viewers. The other big problem with source books is they make new editions brutal. They're just absolutely brutal because if you've had 20 or 30 source books and you go to a new edition, you are really kicking your fan in the teeth, right? Because it's brutal for them. They're going to lose hundreds or well over 1,000 or 2,000 or even hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Right? Whereas if you just have a core rule book and you don't have source books, or if you do what Dungeons & Dragons is doing right now, releasing tons and tons and tons new content every single week for free on the web, that's a great business model. And the game masters can take what they want and leave what they don't, right? It's really solid. Right? It's beautiful. It's one of the best thing I've ever seen out of one of the best things I've ever seen out of Dungeons 5th edition. Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, which is a stellar edition. All right, so that's my argument against source books. So I've said this many times that we need to get rid of source books. So how do we get rid of them? And that's why I'm talking about Blackwood today, right? Because Blackwood is a really unique special case, right? So one, Blackwood is a cool setting. It is really well crafted. Eli Kurtz is a very, very smart creator. He's used talented resources to do layout and art. He knows how to run a successful Kickstarter, and he can run games. He's a really solid producer, right? So here's the issue, right? First of all, why would I not buy Blackwood in its current state? Here's why. Okay, the real reason why I wouldn't buy Blackwood is the game Titan's Grave. Okay, so I got super hyped about Titan's Grave when I saw Will Wheaton run it on YouTube, and it's an absolutely awesome setting, but it is a source book, right? It is a beautifully created source book. It's like 150 pages long. It has fantastic art and it has fantastic layout, right? And so as soon as Titan Graves came out, I was like, I want to run this. Okay, I'm going to go get the book, right? And then I hit a wall, right? And that wall was, hey, You want to run this? Well, guess what? This Titan's Grave, this awesome, amazing setting, is trapped behind the Green Ronin's basic fantasy. It's called Fantasy Age. It's their basic fantasy rules book. So you have to buy their basic fantasy rules book, and then you have to buy your Titan's Grave, right? Now, I was so excited about it that I was like, I can't do that. I can't, I know the odds of me running Titan's Grave right now, because I have other games queued up, is very high. I'm not going to drop $80 to $100, right? But the Titan's Grave book is only $40, right? And I think the Fantasy Age is either $40 or $60. It's expensive, right? And so I'm like, I can't do that. Well, Christmas came, and I was like, and for Christmas I can ask for whatever I want, and I'm blessed to have people who are going to buy me. And I'm like, I'm just going to throw this money in a hole. I'm going to buy a source book to read the setting, having never read the rules. And it drives me crazy that I had to do that. And I did it. I read the whole book, and I really dug it. The setting is beautiful. It is fantastic. I will never, ever run it. And the reason why is I'm not bringing 4 to 5 of my friends and giving them a big old, middle finger and saying, hey, you want to play? Well, drop $100. I'm not dropping 4 or 5. I'm not being responsible for $400 or $500 being put out to play a game. It's not fair to my friends to ask them to buy 2 books to play 1 game, right? And Sourcebooks drive me crazy. I apologize for that my frustration is coming through, but it's so clear to me how much damage they do to our community, and I want to get to the solution, and I'm getting there. Thank you for your patience. All right, so the same problem with Blackwood, right? Even if I bought Blackwood, I would only buy it for myself. I would never go to the people I care about and my friends who I like and say, guess what? Pony up for 2 books. I'm not going to do that, right? And I feel frustrated that the industry has made this acceptable. We should have rejected this a long time ago. But now, in 2017, because of technology, we absolutely need to reject this, right? And the reason why is Eli Kurtz. Eli Kurtz is the solution to this problem. All right, so let's talk it through. All right, so Blackwood, you have a great setting. All right, Savage Worlds, pretty cool rule system, right? Eli Kurtz is definitely down with the Savage Worlds rules engine. And get this, so I didn't even know this existed before I listened to the podcast, but Eli Kurtz explained that Blackwood is a very special product, right? And he explained, here's the deal with Blackwood. Blackwood is an officially licensed product for Savage Worlds. It's an official setting for Savage Worlds. Now, how did he get there? How did he make it official? Well, he actually submitted his content to them, and they said, you need to be able to make this into a beautiful book, right? It has to have real layout and real art. And that is Savage World saying, we're going to protect our intellectual property. We're not going to let anybody who can slap together 40,000, 50, actually Blackwood is 55,000 words with 30 pieces of art, okay? Which is really interesting. And also the Kickstarter, they tried to get $5,000 for the Kickstarter, and they got it. They got 6,400. So a 55,000 word book with 30 pieces of art costs $6,400. It's another reason why I listen to these, why I listen to content on Sourcebooks, because I want to see how they're approaching the construction of these products, right? So here's the issue, right? Here's where we arrive on it, right? So he went through all the trouble to actually get officially licensed. That takes timing and patience and and bureaucracy. Like, that's literally bureaucracy getting in the way of you making your game, right? But he got it through, and he got an officially licensed product, right? Now, my question is, at this point, for what I want Blackwood to be a self-standing book. One book. It can cost $60. I got no problem with that. I spend $60 on tabletop role-playing games all the time, right? But that is a that is the actual maximum. I do not buy games over that. I've only done it once, and that actually came. I paid $100 for a tabletop role-playing game new, which was the Fantasy Flight Warhammer role-playing game, which had a ton of cards and small parts that came with it, just like a board game would. Okay, so that was a special event. I'm cool with that. If you're bringing extra stuff, not just a book, but paying $60 for a book is not outrageous. It is, these most tabletop role playing games, they will supply you with 1,000 hours of entertainment without breaking a sweat. So it's fine, but I don't want to spend more than that, right? I'm not $80 to $100 for one player to play a game is too much, in my opinion, right? So how do we get to? So here's the issue: what would it take for Eli Kurtz to go to the guy, the Savage World guys, and say, I want the rules in the back of my book, or I want to take your rules. The text is already up. It's on some SRD on the internet, whether it's official or not. The text is already there, right? So my question, so he would just be, at this point, he would just say, hey guys, I need the rules so that I can create a freestanding game, right? Now, actually, I do know there are obstacles to this. There are, so one, how does Savage Worlds get its cut, right? Well, Eli Kurtz is a really smart guy, right? He can work that through with them, right? But the reality is, Eli Kurtz's Sourcebook is closer to being made into a full, sellable, one-book product that has the rules and has the setting in one book, right? Just like any normal tabletop role, than any other tabletop role-playing game on the market, because you have a capable creator who's active. You have somebody who just finished a Kickstarter. You know that they can do the work. You have somebody who is willing to put up with all the crazy nonsense and bureaucracy that it would take to get this made into a full book, right? So that's what I'm saying. And if he does it, and here's the issue: if Eli Kurtz is willing to do this, right, then he could show the path to the entire industry and get literally hundreds of tabletop role-playing game settings that no one's ever going to play for the same reason I am, right? That many, I would say the vast majority of tabletop role-playing games are an incredibly hard sell, even if they're in one book. When they're in two books, it's even harder, right? So that's my point is, if we get, Eli Kurtz to go to Savage Worlds and say, give me the rules. I want to bake it right into Blackwood, and I'm going to take my source book. Okay, so here's the issue. Here's why Eli Kurtz has to do this, right? Here's why, okay? If Monty Cook comes to me and he hands me Numenera and he says, here you go, this is my book, Numenera, right? I'm going to say, hey, thank you, Monty. This is a rule setting, and this is a setting and a bunch of rules, and now I have everything I need to play 1,000+ hours of awesome tabletop role-playing action with all my friends. You have gifted me with something special. Now, if Eli Kurtz comes to me and he hands me Blackwood, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to see, oh, this is a source book. Well, I would like to say thank you as a courtesy as a human being, but you've given me nothing. Nothing. This is not a usable product, right? You've given me what you created, and it doesn't matter because it doesn't have everything that's needed to go, right? But if he goes to Savage Worlds and gets the rights and bakes it in, then Blackwood becomes a viable, useful product. And even more than that, Blackwood becomes the new path to rescue hundreds of awesome settings, including Titan's Grave, that have been written up and that are really functionally not useful. They're really functionally not useful because there's this obstacle. There's this extra obstacle to playing the game, right? And then people who want to play Blackwood can play Blackwood. They don't need to be Blackwood fans and Savage World fans. And get this, when he's done, Eli Kurtz, because he's already done it, he can give me that game for Fate Core, for Fate Accelerated. He can give it to me for the Cypher system, right? It just and each one of those is a self-contained usable, functional product, right, that we can use. The industry so desperately needs this. It so desperately needs this. And the reason why is it's just going to make the game more accessible. And right now, as I love tabletop role-playing games, and one of the things that I see is, as I look at what we've created, we have erected so many obstacles to playing the game that's not even funny. The other issue is, how much time and effort would it take to do this? Not much. And that's just it. The amount of time and effort that's being invested into these is so much that this is 10 or 20% more time. But it makes it, I would say, 75% more useful, because the number of people who are going to be willing to play it once it's no longer a source book but a self-standing game is going to be a factor. It's going to be 3 times more also. And then also, when the industry has guys like Eli Kurtz that have macheted the path to doing this, they're going to show everybody else, here's how you easily port it to Fate Accelerated, to Fate Core. Here's how you easily convert it to Cypher, right? And those are the big dogs right now. Those are the guys, that to me, those are, I wouldn't even mention GURPS, because I don't feel anybody really plays it anymore. It's very, very small niche market, and I wouldn't take the time to convert to GURPS. But Cypher and Fate, those are major, awesome rule sets that are really, really fantastic, right? And then also, in addition to that, I have already requested from Mike Merles, please break out, and I do think we should do that for Dungeon Master Guide. And then also, that's another part, right? So in addition to Eli Kurtz work, excuse me, Cypher system is the rules broken out of Numenera. They built it into Numenera, then they broke it out and made it generic. Fate Core is just broken out of another. It's a rule system made generic and ready to run. And that's another thing, is going forward, all tabletop role-playing games, the creators need to create their game and then break out the generic engine, and then allow that generic engine to go into other products, officially licensed, and you can get money from the creators. I'm totally cool with that. Asking for pay for to license your product, or letting them do it for free, however you want to handle it. I'm cool with that. But I really feel like there's a huge opportunity with Eli Kurtz. He is capable of delivering a bright future for us, right? And it's really important that we reach this, and that we get there, and I think it's very important that we reach toward this important juncture within the hobby. And so I'm definitely going to shoot this over to Eli Kurtz. Wish me well. Take care, everybody.